Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Magenta Maven, where I speak with the talented Brandon Hines, best known as Noxeema. Thank you for listening to the Magenta Maven. I am here with Brandon, also known as Noxeema Deluxe. Todd, how are you doing today?
I am good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Tell me about your childhood.
I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, born and raised. I left for a little bit to go to college, but I came back because, couldn't stay away from the good weather.
Where did you go to college at?
I went to college at Rider University. I studied arts administration, did a little bit of costume designing while I was there and stuff like that.
What high school did you go to here in Jacksonville? Like, what area of town did you live in?
I grew up in the Arlington area, the most important part of my life. So middle school to high school, I was in Arlington. I went to Douglas Anderson School of the Arts, which I think Faith went there too. But yeah, it's a great school. I studied vocal performance and musical theater.
What kind of person were you when you were in school?
I was pretty much the same. I've always been loud and very flamboyant, so that just carried over.
How was it there for you? I know Faith didn't really like it all that much, but how was it for you there?
Honestly, it was pretty good. I think that a lot of the times when you're there, it's you take it for granted because you're surrounded by people who are doing similar things to you every day, and the amount of time that you spend at school all the time really helps build connections with my friends and stuff. The people I knew in high school and from middle school and stuff like that, I'm still friends with them because of how much time we spent together. I thought it was a great experience. I learned a lot.
Did you have any role models at the time when you were in school?
Not really. I looked up to Beyonce because it's Beyonce.
Oh yeah.
But most of the people that I was looking up to were people that were surrounded by me. So my choir directors, my teachers, stuff like that. People who were taking me under their wing and teaching me all this good stuff.
When did you come out, or have you came out?
Yeah, I came out when I came out in middle school. I think it was in 6th grade. I came out as bi because I was I don't know how my family's gonna take it, so I'm gonna let them at least think that I still like the girls. But but it was a good experience. It was an okay experience. My mom was a little wary at first, but as we grew closer and as she started to understand me a little bit more, we got really close. I started doing drag, and she was like, "Yes, I love it." She comes to see my shows, and she loves me so much.
I really love it when we have the support of our family because it makes it a whole lot easier and a whole lot better than if you don't have the support.
Which I sometimes take that for granted too, because I know that not everyone is fortunate enough to have supportive family and people who got their back.
So I have this game that I like to play, and it's called Enter the Internet. So I'm going to pull some questions from that and ask you some random questions. If you got a one-time pass to do whatever you wanted, what crime would you commit?
Tax evasion. Is that a good crime? I don't know. I don't like giving the government my hard-earned money. So if I had any way to keep it all for myself, I'd definitely do that.
Oh yeah, that sounds really good. That's probably I didn't think about that, but that would probably be what I would do now that considering that.
It's not super crazy. It's not super crazy. It's just money. I ain't got to kill nobody or nothing.
So if you could die and come back as an inanimate object, what would it be?
So many. They are real good questions. Some of these go straight to dirty, child.
Well, it's fun.
Any inanimate object that I could come back as. What get used a lot? A phone, because if you a good old phone and you got a good looking person that is owning that phone, you get to be in that pocket.
Oh yeah,
you get to be carried.
So let's see, one more. So if you had to get a lip tattoo, what would you have it say?
A lip tat. Oh, like on the inside of your lip.
Yes.
Oh, I was like, who getting tattoos on the top of their lips? I think it's a WWBD. It'd be what would Beyonce do? Because I only trust her decisions. You know, she ain't never led me wrong.
All right. So let's get into the good stuff. So when was the first time that you did drag? Like what got you started?
So when I was in high school at DA, I think I was a junior. I was doing a lot of community theater and stuff like that. And at Players by the Sea, which is a theater out in Jack's Beach, they put on this production of La Cage aux Folles, which, if you don't know what La Cage aux Folles is, it's pretty much the stage version of The Birdcage with, what's that man's name?
Robin Williams.
Yes, all of them. And I was one of the girls that worked at the little nightclub that was there. And we had this guy come in. He was like, I'm pretty much going to be your drag mother for a couple days. Going to teach you guys how to do your makeup. And he was like, I'm going to do half of your face and you're going to do the other half. And he did one half and I finished it up. And I was like, oh, she's a pretty lady. And like just the the experience of getting to, which I think is a great show to like be your first time to do drag, because it's very like vaudeville and feathers and the costumes are great. So I really got to live my fantasy. And after that show ended, I was like, I'm gonna just keep playing with makeup and stuff and see where that gets me. And lo and behold, Noxeema was born.
So how did you come up with the name Noxeema?
Tu Wong Fu, thanks for everything, Julie Newmar.
I was about to say, I know that you had told me your last name, but every time that I hear it, I keep wanting to thank Jackson the whole time just from the Too Long Fruit.
It's a great movie, and I feel like a lot of people like hate on it because there's some things in the movie that I'm like, oh, I don't know about all of this, but like it's a good story. And Miss Noxeema was fabulous when she came out in that little orange fringe costume.
Oh yeah, from when they
That was the one.
found it up in the in that little store.
She grabbed it and she came down to the banister. She was like, "Orange!"
So now you performed on stage in drag. So after you like a theater stage, like what about your first time performing like on like a stage in front of an audience to do drag? You know, like Hamburger Mary's when you performed there.
The first time that I actually like the first time that I performed was when I think it was right before I went off to college. I was doing a couple of like the glitter bomb shows that BB Deluxe does. This was like, it was back in the day. And she was like, hey, do you want to come do this this show? It's going to be at Nighthawks, which I think is that bar across the street from the Metro. And she was like, you want to come do this show? And I was like, yeah, sure. I ain't never twirled in front of like a crowd of like acted and stuff. And she was like, yeah, come on down. And I made a good $50 and thought that I was rich, honey. And I was like, oh, well, I got to get myself back up in there.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember what your first song was that you performed?
Yes, I do. It was Best of My Love.
What did you wear?
Isn't that what? That's the one by The Emotions. I wore a little I look so busted. I had a jumpsuit. It was like this floral jumpsuit that a friend of mine was like, oh yeah, you could wear this. And like, it's real cute. I didn't have to wear no body or nothing. I just had on a stuffed bra and some heels that I had to lotion up my foot to put into.
Well, you need no padding in the back because you know I always mess with you about the.
No, this was before I was using pads. I was using a real body. So I had dreads back too, so I wasn't wearing like wigs or anything. So I just had my hair tied up in a knot.
Oh, okay. You got the last name Todd. So how did you like acquire that name?
From my darling drag mother, Sandra Todd. We got really close when I started working at Mary's back in the day when it was out in Riverside at the pub.
Mm-hmm.
And we got really close. And I was like, oh, I love her. Like I had already seen Sandra at like clubs hosting everything. I was like, she's funny. I love her. She's great. And then we got closer and stuff. And I was like, oh, I feel like I'm learning a lot from her. And then one day, we were just sitting around talking, and she said something. And I was like, oh yeah, that's nice. So can I start using Todd now? And she was like, huh? I was like, since we're spending so much time together, I want to be your daughter. She was like, okay. And she was like, we're gonna make you good old Noxeema Todd. And I was like, that worked for me. Classy lady.
I'm hoping to get her on. I had questioned her about asking to do an interview. She's very busy now with her new thing, so hopefully we'll get her on, and that's
Yeah,
going
you
to
got
be
to make sure you put
a
rated on there.
So, if you had to work but didn't need the money, what would you do?
If I had, I would perform, sing, and dance and stuff. Well, I do drag because it'd be nice to do drag and like not need to make money off of it. But I would like sing and dance. Like I have my musical theater background and my vocal background, and like I love performing, so it'd have to be something on the stage.
So, when did you start singing? That's question. Like what? Like you? What day did you be like, oh, well, singing? I love this, so I'm going to do it. So, what got you into singing?
A lot of my family are singers, so like we're the type of family that if like there's a wedding, a funeral, some kind of family event, somebody has to sing at the at that event. And so it would always be my aunt and my uncles because they were always singing together. They had like this whole singing group. I use that term loosely. And they were like, "Oh yeah, Brandon can sing too. My mama can sing a little bit too." So I think that's where I got it from. But around 8 or so, I was like, I kind of want to like actually do something like with this singing thing. So I signed, or my parents signed me up for the Jacksonville Children's Chorus, and I started singing in JCC when I was 8 years old, and I stayed singing in JCC until like junior year of high school. And I really got into like singing and stuff. I watched Glee. Oh, this sounds horrible, but I watched a lot of Glee when it first came out, and I was like, I could do that. I want to go to a school where I can just like sing and dance all the time. And so I auditioned for La Villa and got in, and ended up going to DA and all that fun stuff.
So, what kind of stuff do you like to do in your spare time?
I sound like a nerd, but I really enjoy playing video games. I think they're good for the nerves. Helps take off some stress.
Oh yeah, we're into playing Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah, which one?
5.
Oh yeah, 5's a good one. That's where they got the good stories. The good stories.
Oh yeah. Well, we Nick likes to just play the story part and just go around shooting everybody. Relieve stress and blowing up everything. But
it helps get out some pent up aggression.
Yes, but we do like usually sometimes about 9:00 we'll meet. Robert and Stephen that works there at Mary's with you. We'll meet up with them and play the Grand Theft Auto all together.
Oh, y'all do online, or y'all just do it
online?
Willy-nilly. Oh yes, online is good.
Helps with the with all the stress, and then it keeps you from going crazy from being stuck with this coronavirus. Staying home.
I recently got a Switch, a Nintendo Switch, because I don't know why I got it, but I got Pokemon Shield or Pokemon Sword, and I've been playing that thing like nobody's business. Ain't nothing else to do, child. We just sitting here.
Oh yeah, that's basically other than going to work and coming home. That's all that it is for me on here. The last question I have for you, which is, I'm sure during your life that you've experienced some highs and lows. What lesson or lessons do you wish that you have known earlier in life?
I think that I wish I would have known to I know that it sounds weird, but like if you give somebody a chance to like giving chances, I think that I at least give one chance to somebody. Don't continually give people chances, just because like the more times that you give them chances, the more times they're gonna assume that you're going to like be okay with it or let them walk all over you. I just, yeah, like give people one chance. Don't give them too many chances because they're gonna take advantage. And don't nobody like that because they knew what they did the first time they did it.
Oh yes.
And if they ain't learn from it, then they're not gonna learn. Sounds like somebody auntie.
True, very true. Well, thank you very much for letting me do this interview with you today. Because everybody always has questions about like how somebody got started and where they came from and this and that. So this gives people a chance to hear actually everyone's story.
Mm-hmm. See behind the drag.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Magenta Maven. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the Magenta Maven, MAVAN. Be on the lookout for more great interviews. You can leave us a message and subscribe at anchor.fm/the Magenta Maven.